So, as all of you should hopefully know by now, UCAS has changed its undergraduate personal statement from its original single 4,000 character essay to 3 short answer responses that have a total limit of 4,000 characters. Why? Well, according to UCAS, these changes help to make the process easier and more structured for you to really shine in your application. Is it actually easier though? And what things do we have to be aware of now that the format has changed? That's what we're going to be going through in this video. But first, a quick introduction as to who I am. My name is Zoe, and I'm a native English speaker, teacher, and English text editor who's corrected over 2,500 university application essays for students who have gone into some of the top universities around the world. I'm also the head teacher of Xena International Education, an educational platform that offers services like professional university application essay corrections, amongst other things. So, if you'd like to get some extra support with your UCAS application essay, feel free to leave us a message or visit us at www.xenainternationaleducation.com/collegeapp.php. Anyway, let's get back into the video. Firstly, let's begin by talking about what has remained the same. Well, you'll be happy to know that the 3 questions that you're responding to are the exact same 3 questions as in previous years. So essentially, your content is still going to be the same. You still need to answer 1. Why do you want to study this course or subject? 2. How have your qualifications and studies helped you to prepare for this course or subject? And 3. What else have you done to prepare outside of education, and why are these experiences useful? This time though, instead of responding to all of these questions at once in a single essay, you'll be responding to each of them separately. And in our next video, we're going to be going through step by step what you should include in each response. But before we do that, another thing that has remained the same is the 4,000 character limit. So, although you're writing 3 separate responses, the word limit is based off of the combined total characters of each response. So the characters of response 1 plus response 2 plus response 3 still needs to be less than 4,000 characters. You just need to divide these characters amongst the 3 questions, with each question having a minimum character limit of 350 characters. Okay, so those are the similarities. Now let's get a bit into the differences and some things that you should be aware of when you're writing 3 separate responses and not just one essay. Number 1, no need for a formal introduction or conclusion, particularly with the conclusion, because in a way, you're still writing an introduction, because most of the time, even with the previous application essay format, your introduction was just basically your why paragraph. Why is it that you want to study this course? And that is essentially your response to question 1. So while you're not really aiming to write an introduction, you're kind of writing one anyway by explaining why it is that you want to study this course and telling your story about that. And we'll go more into this in the next video where we break down each question. With the conclusion though, as you're writing 3 separate responses, you won't necessarily have a conclusion that sums up all of the points. Instead, each response will need some kind of closing, and the end of your last response to the end of question 3 may be somewhat like a conclusion, where you kind of link your experiences with the reason why you want to study this course. However, there's no need for a formal 2 to 3 sentence conclusion, which might actually help you save characters. Again, more in the next video. Now, number 2. Another thing that you need to be aware of with this format is that each of your responses to each of the 3 questions needs to wrap up neatly as a single response. So rather than answering bits and pieces everywhere. And this is actually kind of the same thing as the next one, so I'm going to combine them together, which is that you have to specifically address all of the questions in one place. So with the previous essay format, there wasn't a specific way to address the questions. You could have addressed them in any order, and you could have weaved your response in to answer the different questions in different places. So like weaving the questions and your answers to these questions into a cohesive story, addressing some parts of the question in the middle, some parts in the beginning, some parts in the end. There was no strict formatting around that. However, now you do have to make sure that you're addressing each of the questions separately and completely in one place, in each of the 3 responses that you're given, okay? It does make it easier to make sure that you've actually addressed every part of the question, and it is very helpful if you're not that much of a storyteller, as you don't really have to think about a way to cohesively structure your different ideas together to tell a single cohesive story. You'd still need to have consistency throughout your application, but you're not necessarily going to be writing a long essay form story. It does mean though that you'll need to restructure how you approach your essay, and we're going through how to do that in our next video, where we talk about how to respond to each question separately. Moving on, another thing with this 3-question response format is that you no longer need linking words to connect between the 3 responses. If you have multiple paragraphs in each response, yes, you'll still need to connect them together, but you don't really need to use words like additionally and moreover when you move between each of the 3 separate responses. This helps you save character space and allows you to focus more on the clear expression of your ideas rather than focusing on linking your 3 responses together. It doesn't mean that you don't present a cohesive picture though, as we mentioned before, but you don't have to worry too much about directly linking things together to create one single story. So, in conclusion, is the single essay format better, or is the 3 short answer responses better? Well, that's up to you, and it really depends on how you look at it and what your strengths are. The important thing is though, that these are the changes that we all have to accept and work around. So, rather than focusing on whether these changes are good or whether they're bad, just focus on how you can adapt and write the best possible essay to showcase your strengths and passions, which is what we're going to be going through in our next video. So stay tuned for that, and I'll see you there.